The 30-year and the long duration bonds, in my opinion, are lost. The bigger story, the way bigger story is who are the free and open market buyers that are emerging, they're stablecoin issuers. What are they doing with the coupons that they're receiving from the buys? They're sweeping it into Bitcoin. The Back to the Future meme where Biff has the the queen and he's hitting McFly on the head. Hello, McFly. It's like, wake up. Like, I don't know what to tell people. It's just so freaking obvious. If it unfolds really fast and like we get a real meltdown in fiat currency, I would argue that the nationalization of treasury companies and anything that they can get their hands on, the ETFs, whatever, is going to happen way more aggressively.
You opted out of the broken financial system by adopting Bitcoin and taking self-custody of your money. But protecting your wealth is only part of the equation. Now it's time to protect your freedom. My family is stacking sats and stacking flags. A second passport is our hedge against government overreach and uncertainty. If you're a Bitcoiner looking for your exit strategy, our friends at Citizen X will help you secure second citizenship through investment or descent. Book your free call today by hitting the link in the show notes or simply scanning the QR code on the screen. Let me break this down for my fellow Bitcoiners. In just 8 weeks, I've seen a serious shift. More strength, more energy, and fast muscle gains. The reason? FITSCRIPT. They ran 124 biomarkers, blood, hormones, inflammation, and built a fully custom plan, nutrition, training, supplements. No guesswork, no templates. This is functional medicine meets precision fitness for high-performing men who want sovereignty over their health. If you care about optimization the way you care about your money, test, don't guess. Don't trust, verify. Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to check out FITSCRIPT and see what's possible.
Yeah. Do you think with the stablecoin bill that's coming out, plus we got long end running up, right, and then short end they're trying to take down, are they just going to flood these stablecoins? I mean, are they just going to keep pushing the treasuries there? Are they going to try to maybe yield curve on the control on the long end, or do you see that playing out anyway now that that bill's in place?
End, I would make the argument that the long end is pretty much lost. And that's arguable too. I think you could get a lot of people that would argue that, but I find the long end, the 30 years, just kind of lost. And when you look at the emergence of who is the buyer, who's an actual free and open market buyer of any type of debt, it's really kind of the emergence of stable coins are the buyers. And this is why all these politicians were tripping over themselves to pass the Genius Act. I mean, they were literally falling over themselves to pass this thing. And the reason they needed to pass it is they need somebody to be a free and open market buyer. And so that free and open market buyer, they don't want any of the debasement risk in the asset that they're buying to peg the issuance of their token. What I mean by that is if they go out and they're buying 30-year bonds, which aren't even like providing a higher yield. So there's no carrot even on the stick. That's the thing that's hilarious. There's no carrot on. If the yields on the 30-year were like 10%, if is what they probably should be, right? That's what they should be. If they were 10% on the 30-year, you may have some of these stablecoin issuers saying, we'll put like a 10 or 30% position of 30-year bonds on our balance sheet to back the stablecoin that we're issuing. In my opinion, that would still be a bad decision. And I think they would probably agree with that. So that would be the only way that I think that they would start buying the long end of the bond yield curve. But they can just go out there. They can buy, a 1-month note, and it's yielding the same thing. It's yielding, call it 5%, and they can just sweep all that into Bitcoin. They don't have any type of debasement risk if they get it wrong, and they don't even have to worry about it. So then they're just completely de-risked at that point.
Wait, so the 30-year is at what, and the short-term notes are at
here? I'll pull up the chart here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
It's totally insane what the yield curves are. Let's see here. Treasury yields. Okay, so your 30-year is at 4.9%. Your federal funds rate is which is the overnight money rate, is 4.33%. Your 1 month is at 4.2%.
So you're getting a fraction of a percent instead of going a month. You're going for 30 years.
From 1 month to 30 year, you get 50 basis points, which is a 0.5%.
There's zero incentive for anybody to do that.
Who the hell would buy that?
Well, that's why in Japan they own like half of their own bonds. Like the central bank.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
nobody wants that.
This is exactly the point and this is why I said the 30-year and the long duration bonds, in my opinion, are lost. Like anybody that's buying that, it's probably a government. It was probably some handshake between governments. It's like not even a real market. The real market is happening at these super short durations, like overnight to, call it 3-month money issuance. And the bigger story, the way bigger story is who are the free and open market buyers that are emerging? They're stablecoin issuers. What are they doing with the coupons that they're receiving from the buys? They're sweeping it into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the it's the Back to the Future meme where Biff has the the queen and he's hitting McFly on the head. Hello, McFly. It's like, wake up. Like, I don't know what to tell people. It's just so freaking obvious.
That's wild. Do you think that these stablecoin issuers does that accelerate Bitcoin in the end because of that tactic?
Well, what's going to get interesting is depending on how many you have that kind of like emerge in this, and I'm using air quotes here, free and open market. It's going to get so blended and merged with just the stablecoin issuers being part of the government that I don't really know how to kind of like answer the question, because I don't think they're going to let there be like, and I just don't even think the market's going to settle on there being 30 of them. I think the market's just going to get used to like 4 or 5 of them because nobody does any type of risk analysis, and they're just going to be like, oh, well, it worked yesterday, so I guess it's safe, like end of analysis. And as they get bigger and bigger, I mean, it's become those entities are basically the government, right? Like, how are they any different than the government?
Yeah,
at that point.
And I guess my last question here. You were talking about how the smaller currencies are going to get crushed first, as we kind of work our way up the ladder until it's effectively the US dollar versus Bitcoin, and eventually just Bitcoin versus gold, maybe, something like that. But, if we're getting to that point, again, with the stablecoin thing and the push to have like regulated stablecoin issuers, is this a play that accelerates that, where you're in some other country and the debasement, even if it's marginally more than the US dollar, you're just like, screw it, I'll just use Tether or something like that? Is that where we're headed?
I think for the international markets, I think they're already kind of moving in that direction where it's just like, oh, I'm just going to use this stable coin instead of my local currency, which is going to get them used to using digital wallets, which is going to get them used to just like the cognitive change of buying things over their phones. That's going to happen. But as this blob gets more powerful and bigger, right? As it gets to the Jafar moment, right? And it's become so powerful. What I think you're going to find, because it's going to be the dollar, and what I think you're going to find is that the government, the U.S. government's going to start tapping on shoulders and saying, "Hey, we don't really like that transaction," and they just go straight to the issuer. It doesn't matter if it's on Solana, it doesn't matter if it's on Ethereum or Tron, or even on Bitcoin for that matter. The company that's issuing and securitizing the treasuries can get a tap on the shoulder and like, we just don't like this transaction that happened between this entity and that entity, and we want you to reverse it. And they can. They can, because it's not Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And the more that they start trying to control as it gets bigger, and this is the medium that it's being going through, they're just going to start tapping on their shoulders. And I think that that's going to be the moment where people are like, oh, snap, like they can just like reverse these. I thought this was like decentralized. I thought this was like No, wrong. It's not.
Surprise, surprise. When there's counterparty risk, it doesn't matter what chain it's on.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're going to see governments that are going to want to stack their own Bitcoin and everything. Are they going to just end up buying these treasury companies instead and like in the back end? Is that what's going to happen? Because like, for example, right now, MicroStrategy owns like 3% of the whole Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So like the US government can't compete with that. You know what I mean?
This is what I would say. First of all, the answer is absolutely that can happen. Absolutely, they could just go in there and nationalize the asset. And the reason why is because all these people that are running these companies, if the government comes and taps on your shoulder and they're saying, hey, we want to own this equity because we need the treasury to fund ourselves, people don't want to go to jail, right? It's institutional custody, right? That's how it's going to be. The Bitcoin's going to be custodied, and people don't want to go to jail. And so they're going to play nice with whatever the government asks them to do. So that's the risk of owning all of these things. Can it outperform Bitcoin? And I tell people, of course it can. Them securitizing Bitcoin in the fixed income space, like all of it, as I lay it out and I look at how they're doing it and what they're doing and where it goes, can they outperform Bitcoin? They can. Does it come with additional risk? You better believe it comes with additional risk. And the biggest risk, maybe not today, but call it 10 years from now, is that risk right there. Is what does that look like? We just had the US government take, what was it, a 10% position in Intel this week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so then this is the other thing is how are they going to do it? Are they just going to go in there and nationalize the whole thing all at once? Probably not. It might be this slow, a gradual progression of them owning the equity that they then start taking control of whatever the treasury is. And the other thing that I would point out is a lot of this comes down to the speed at which all of this unfolds. If it unfolds really fast and like we get a real meltdown in fiat currency, I would argue that the nationalization of treasury companies and anything that they can get their hands on, the ETFs, whatever, is going to happen way more aggressively. If it happens much slower and this transition is, a decade to 2 decades, then I think we have a fighting chance of maybe free market forces kind of coming back and it not being as egregious of a money grab and a honeypot like stealing situation. But who knows? I don't know. But there's nothing better, like we always say, there's nothing better than self-custodial Bitcoin, like period.
Yep. And why do we keep supporting like stuff like this? You know what I mean?
Well, for me, I talk about it from an education standpoint. I'm just trying to make sure everybody's informed. And, this is another thing that I'm really passionate about. I believe in free and open markets. Like if somebody wants to go out there and do something risky, I think they should be able to go out there and do something risky. And I'm not saying that I'm promoting this or promoting that. I think everybody should be able to be a rational actor, put on their big boy pants and big girl pants and go out there and make their own decisions. And if they fall on their face and they bloody their nose, well, I don't know what to tell you. You made a bad decision. It's that simple. And I think it's also, we're at a point in Bitcoin, okay, where, what are we, 17 years into this experiment, right? Something like that. As a parent, when you raise your kids, okay, and they're 12 years old and they're 10 and you're teaching them all the little things that they need to know before they can become adults and then they turn 18. If you're still trying to parent them at 18 years old, it's too late. It's too late. In fact, you might have the opposite effect on them as you're trying to coach them and tell them what to do. And where I think Bitcoin is right now is I think it's kind of at that 18-year, it's moving out of the house. It's kind of making its own decisions. It's playing in Wall Street, and we're like, oh no, God, be careful. Don't go there. Those are the bad people. And the fact of the matter is the code's written, all the engineering's pretty much out there. There's going to be a little bit more, but if it's actually going to win and it's going to go all the way and take over the global money supply, I think we're kind of at a point beyond like, what's the term with a black hole, the event horizon. I think we're kind of past the event horizon of whether we've coded everything we can and have everything in place for the most part. Maybe 99% of it's kind of there. And we've got to let the thing move out of the house, and we've got to treat it with respect. And we've got to, like, you know, educate people on all the risks and what can go right, what can go wrong.
Hopefully there's not too many weekend benders between now and maturity, right? hopefully Bitcoin itself can do a little bit better than Bitcoiners at conferences. Hey, you. Yes, you watching the Bitcoin price movements and the latest exciting news. It's awesome to stay informed, but the real power of Bitcoin comes from taking control. Don't just watch, take action. Head over to btcsessions.ca/learn for free step-by-step tutorials that guide you through every major skill you need to know, plus full video playlists for deeper dives on any topic you like. And if you're ready for the ultimate fast track, scroll to the bottom and check out bitcoinmentor.io for premium one-on-one experience with my team of Bitcoin experts to ensure you get it right the first time. Don't wait. Secure your Bitcoin future today. Hit the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen.